So you're thinking about making your move to Calgary, or maybe you're already here and you're looking at making the Northwest Quadrant your new next home. Well, in this video, we are going to break down the real pros and cons of living in the Northwest Quadrant. The Northwest is beautiful, it's established, it's close to the river and the mountains, but it's not for everyone. Look, if this is your first time to the channel, we help people just like you buy, sell, and relocate to Calgary every single day. Hey, my name is Charmaine and I'm with the Living in YYC Real Estate Group. Whether you're looking to make a move in 9 days or 90, make sure you subscribe to our channel, tap the bell for notifications so you can be the first to get all of the latest real estate information for all things Calgary and the surrounding areas. And please, if you have any questions, make sure you reach out. All of our contact information is in the text box below. Me and my team, we would love to help you and answer all of your questions that you have about real estate in Calgary. Now, let's jump in and take a look at the real pros and cons of living in the Northwest. Northwest Calgary began as a patchwork of farmland, ranches, and small communities in the early 20th century. Communities like Montgomery and Bowness were annexed into the city in the mid-60s. And then throughout the 70s and 80s, Northwest Calgary saw an increasing amount of development, and there was the boom that happened, and so many families flocked, calling the Northwest their home. And many of the established communities that we see and are thriving today. Families move to the Northwest, especially in the established neighborhoods, because they're looking for their custom homes, large lots, backyards that kids can play in, and communities with the big mature trees. And that brings us to our pro number one of why people love the Northwest. It gives the Northwest an advantage over the other quadrants in the city, is that the established communities do give families that large lot, the mature trees, and just the quiet neighborhoods and the wide streets. And people love that. And that is why we see communities like Silver Springs, Scenic Acres, have the low housing rate where not very many homes are turning over, because once people get into those neighborhoods, they're not leaving because they have the large lots and the big mature trees, which is perfect for raising a family in. But is this really an area of the city that is for everyone? Pro number two, access to nature. In Northwest Calgary, it is the quadrant that is closest to the Rocky Mountains by far than any other quadrant in the city. We will have you to Banff and Kananaskis within the hour. Plus, Northwest Calgary is home to some of the most beautiful parks in the city. Beaumont Park, Nose Hill Park, Bowness Park, and Shoaldice Park, to only name a few. Our pro number three, top schools and amenities. Northwest Calgary has some of the best public and Catholic schools in the city, not to mention we are home to U of C and SAIT. And healthcare can also go in with our pro number three, is that we have Foothills Hospital, the new Cancer Center, and Alberta Children's Hospital right here in the middle of Northwest Calgary. I would also be remiss if I did not mention the shopping malls that we have within the Northwest. Now, they may not be as good as what you would find in the South, but we love Market Mall, and we also have Beacon Hill where our Costco is. You always got to mention Costco. Those are some of the top amenities that we have that makes Northwest really great, and that comes in at number three. Rounding out at number four, let's talk about transportation and our LRT lines. So in the Northwest, we are lucky enough that the LRT has been fully taken right to the end of our communities, almost right to the end of the city, because the red line goes all the way to Tuscany. And from Tuscany, you can get way down south to Shaughnessy, you can get to downtown, or you can transfer into the blue line to get into northeast or way up into the southwest. Having that developed public transportation line already in our communities that are going right through the quadrant is a plus, because the people that are in the south or the newer areas in the city, they're demanding and wanting that public transportation infrastructure that's just not there yet. Coming up on number 5 of our pro list is the Northwest is relatively safe and quiet. Many of the communities that you find within Northwest Calgary are safe and our crime rates are low, relative to other parts of the city or even to downtown Calgary. We don't have many of the homelessness problems that we do see in other parts of the city throughout the Northwest. And for many families that are moving in, that gives them a safe sense of community by not having to worry about the crime that you do see in other areas of the city. And rounding out our list of pros for living in Northwest Calgary is the views. Some of the most spectacular views of the mountains can be found in different parts of Northwest Calgary. You think Scenic Acres or Silver Springs, Tuscany, they have the best views of the mountains. Or if you're thinking of communities such as Edgemont, you can see downtown Calgary and you get that city skyline, just magnificent. From the bluff, you can see east down the river valley into downtown Calgary, and to the west, you can see right to the tips of the Rocky Mountains. There is a reason why people pay a premium to live in the Northwest. And that rounds out our list of pros of why people are moving to Northwest Calgary. Now, let's take a look at the cons. So let's talk about cost. Northwest Calgary is the most expensive quadrant of the 4 quadrants in all of Calgary. The benchmark home price that was just released this morning is $550,000 for the city. Well, in 2024, the average home price in Northwest Calgary, $650,000. So $100,000 more for just the Northwest than all of the city. Now, not to say that there is not deals and you can find homes at the lower end of the market, but on average, that is what the home price is for Northwest, making it really unattainable for the average person in Calgary to move into the Northwest. It's really hard for those first-time home buyers to get into a detached home. They'd be looking at coming into the market in a condo or a townhome is what first-time home buyers would be looking at, just because of that price point. And if you think about communities such as Silver Springs or Scenic Acres, where the average home price is even higher than that, we're into the 700s, it's really hard for a lot of families to get into the market, into those communities that they're so longing to want to be in. So con number 2, we can talk about the roads and the infrastructure in the Northwest. Here, we only have a few major thoroughfares that will get us on our way in the morning and rush hour traffic. Crowchild Trail being the main road that many of commuters in the Northwest use when they're getting into the downtown core. And in the mornings, Crowchild Trail is an absolute nightmare. Between 7:30 and 8:30 in the morning, you can expect to be on there for probably about an hour getting into the downtown core, where that normal drive should take you about 20 minutes. With the addition of Stony Trail has added and it's helped relieve some of that congestion, but Crowchild is the most direct way to get into the downtown. So it is a nightmare for people living in the Northwest. We also have 16th Avenue, which merges into Memorial Drive. That is another road that can get us into the downtown core for in the mornings. But again, for the amount of traffic that is on that road, it gets quite congested. So no matter what, living in the Northwest, if you're heading into the downtown core or needing to use those roads to get out in your morning commute or even coming home, you need to give yourself some time. And then in the wintertime, it's even worse. So you just have to gauge it, and you have to be prepared. Pack your patience when you're heading out to start your day. Rounding up number 3 on our con list is the older homes. Let's face it, while it's great that many of our established neighborhoods were built in the 70s and 80s, what's not so great is all of those homes are coming on 40, 50 years of age, and they are either now in need of much renovations or they're being torn down, which gives it a higher price tag for a family to move in. But anybody that's coming into those older neighborhoods, they have to be prepared to either take on that renovation or trust that somebody who's done the renovation before them has done it well enough, and they don't spend a high price on that home and then have to redo it again because it wasn't done the way they would have wanted it to. But that is the crux of wanting that large yard with those big mature trees. You are taking on a home that is older. Our con list would not be complete if we did not talk about the weather or the wind. The weather in the wintertime seems to be a little bit more harsh in Northwest Calgary. And I would guess that it's because most of Northwest sits up and we're at a higher elevation, which makes it colder. And we seem to be about 10 degrees colder than other parts of the city in the wintertime. And then let's talk about the wind. So I live in Arbor Lake. There can be other parts of the city where there is no wind, and yet we can't even sit in our backyard. And I have a southwest facing backyard. Can't sit out there because of the wind, and it doesn't stop. It is year round. And I know Tuscany, Royal Oak, Rocky Ridge, Harmony, and Edgemont, Citadel, everybody is subject to the wind. If you live down in Bowness, Montgomery, where it's lower elevation, it's closer to the river, you don't find it. I have friends that live down in Bowness and they invite me down for a barbecue. Can't go, and I say to them, I'm like, how are we barbecuing? It is like a tornado outside. And they're like, what are you talking about? There's no wind. So just be prepared for a little bit colder temperatures, and you have to be able to endure the wind. So after all that, does Northwest Calgary check all of your boxes? If you love nature, strong communities, and top tier schools, Northwest Calgary might be your fit. But if budget, a commute, and weather are big concerns for you, you may want to keep exploring. If you're thinking about relocating or curious about Northwest Calgary or any of the other quadrants here in the city, please make sure you reach out. If you are looking at making a move in 9 days or in 90, me and my team, we are here and we would love to hear from you. All of our contact information is in the text box below, and please reach out if you have any questions. And until next time, thank you so much for watching. We will see you around town.